Is it time? I think it's time. At the very least, I want to say hi to people, thank the subs I missed on Wednesday, do the camera offset, and then we're going to launch. Camera offset is, we'll go for 9:30, 8:29. Cool. Offset, 9:30. Did you leak it? God damn it, Aiden. Oh. I thought you might have actually leaked what it was. Official announcement is in 10 minutes. I have it scheduled and everything. Oh. You didn't see anything there. Let me thank the people I missed here. Why can I not see subs past here? I wanted to thank all the people I missed on Wednesday, and it doesn't go back far enough. Thank you, Igor, as always. Fenfi, thank you so much for the support. It's Ninja Buddy for the Prime. Appreciate you immensely. Void 21, 6 months in, legend. Cardiac with the Prime, thank you. Space Cav with the tier 1, 17 months. Jesus Christ, Usarin with the 30 months total. Holy hell. SF Dewal with the Prime. Said Ben with the tier 1. Arvin Roshan with the Prime. CD Villard getting it started today. Don't know how to quit. Sorry. It's going to get worse before it gets better. We got Jabawalk here with the launch party. Thank you so much. It's going to be a fun one. I'm really excited to get feedback and everything from everyone here too. We got MG Twitch here with the gift. Don't worry about tagging. That's just part of having the username. We got Lawson. Hopefully I got your name right. Thank you so much for the Prime. NMG already throwing the gifts all over the place, of course. Fucking legend. Thank you so much for being here and helping with the support. We got Valenti Marco 12 with the Prime. Labradors with the Prime as well. Hop back over here quick. Feeling pretty good. Been grinding a lot lately. Had a couple very late nights to make this happen. But the results, something I'm proud of. Don't know what you're talking about, Joel. Let's put this gum out, then we'll get going. It's a little chilly, so I'm going to go grab a hoodie really quick, and right when I'm back, we're going to do it. Sorry for the hype and delay, guys. One sec. Back. To start with MA. No? Are you thinking of Marker Thing? Because I've been using Marker Thing for a long time now. That I announced forever ago. No thing. That'd be a good April Fool's joke. The upload thing pro plan upgrade button redirects to a 404 page. That sounds not good. Mark, if you could confirm that. And if he can't confirm that, Pepe, if you could email us at support@ping.gg, it could be really helpful for us. Does it work for you? Okay, yeah, it's working for us. So, Pepe, if you could email us at support@ping.gg, we'd like to figure that one out for sure. Anyways, not to snub debugging upload thing stuff, but upload thing is not the product I'm here for today. Mustache thing, that, God, you guys won't let me do anything, will you? I really want to do something like elaborate for my birthday, but my birthday's the day before April Fool's Day, and I'm scared everyone's going to think that like my very sincere birthday post is an April Fool's joke. So 50-50 on it. Thank any subs I missed quick before we get going. Then it is time. I think I got all of you guys. But Valenti Marco with the Prime, Labradors with the Prime, Chasen with the Prime, Juicy Benjamin with the Prime as well. Thank you all for making this hype train happen. You know what? We're going to let the ads run. And once the ads are done, then we're going to do it because I don't want people to be missing out. Then we got Saija with the Prime as well. The routing will be explained soon, don't worry. I'm curious what the metrics are looking like right now. I'm just going to close this. I don't have to worry about it anymore. Oh, shit. We got a lot of people here on YouTube. Thank you all for hanging out. It's going to be a big one. Launch is happening as soon as these ads are done. Can I see how far along the ads are somewhere? Pre-rolls shouldn't be going anymore. I have an ad running. Why do we have pre-rolls? Do I have to add the fucking ad manager? I did not write ad manager. So Ryan, X viewers doesn't matter because X viewers is like a fake number. I should go make sure we're actually live on X though. That's a good point. Let me set that up. It's so super annoying. The dashboard for it sucks really hard. Create launch day. Category science. Sorry guys. Broadcast. Post launch time. Posted. Is that making sound? That's stupid. Okay. Oh, ping Discord. Thank you. Published there. I know I can automate the announcements, but I keep forgetting to, and then it's too late. So X doesn't have a number that goes down. The X viewership only goes up. So if you watch for 5 seconds and leave, it still counts you. So it's a useless number. It's not concurrence. Okay, why are there still pre-rolls? I'm just going to run a 30-second commercial in hopes that gets it to stop. Okay, cool. That did it. I don't know why the automated commercials aren't disabling pre-rolls. Something's up. I fucking hate Twitch ads so much. Thank you, Noga Nick, Mike P. Funk, 90 Tino, all for the subs. Really appreciate you. Once this ad is done, we're doing it. It's time. I'll thank all the new subs right after. Marker announcement for product. We're doing it live, boys. It's time. I built a new thing. And for once, we didn't name it thing. This thing's a bit different from the other things I've built in that it's not as unique as many of the other things I've built are. Usually when I build something, it's because no one else has made anything like it, and I'm frustrated. If you look at stuff like ping.gg or marker thing, or obviously upload thing, you'll see that those came out of my own frustrations, that there was no product that did any of what they do. The product we're launching today doesn't do a lot of the things the competition do, but that's okay because it does one thing really, really well. It's the fastest app I've ever used, and I'm not exaggerating. But what is it? What did I build? I'm here today to announce T3 Chat, the best AI chat app you've ever used. T3.chat. When I say it is the fastest chat app you've ever used, I'm not exaggerating. I'm clicking now. Every single thread you have opens instantaneously because they're all on your device. It's an AI chat app similar to Claude and ChatGPT, but the UI and UX is actually good. It's actually a pleasant app to use. And if you don't believe me, go to t3.chat and try it quick. Our free tier is very generous and you don't even need to sign in. This one, I asked it to solve an advent code problem. Let's ask it to solve another. Or how about in a different language? Now do it in Python and Erlang. Pressing enter now. Instant. I can go to other tabs while it's streaming in. It doesn't break anything. It is the fastest chat app you've ever used, I promise. Just try it. I'm super, super hyped. Did the announcement post go up yet? Let's see. It did. Talking all about it. I have a follow-up I wanted to put here. Still very early, and we have so many things we want to add. Just a quick handful. Dedicated desktop app, branching chats, projects, half done already. File uploads. What other things did I have? I had a whole list. The URL is t3.chat. Free plan limit is, I think we have it set to either 20 or 30 messages every 7 days. It's super generous. File uploads. What were the other things? I had a whole list. Local first search. What do you want, though? We want all the feedback we can get. So I'm live right now talking all about it. Yeah, I know people are going to have things to say. I don't care. Try it. That is all I'll say back. Open it up, give it a shot, and tell me it wasn't worth it. It's infinitely loading. I don't think it should be. Testing. Nah, loading fine for me. If it isn't for you, let me know. We rotate between a couple of different models. In the future, there will be model picking as well. The goal was to figure out the UX and navigation and the foundation of the tech first. It's stupid fast. As we see in Twitch chat here, it's so fast. It's so fast. How is it so fast? It's crazy fast. Yeah. Wow, it is for real fast. Yeah. $8 is only for when you max out the number of requests. Edit messages is coming. Pretty damn fast. The chat thing name was taken, and honestly, once I found the t3.chat domain, I had to do it. Logo first search is going to be so good. I'm really hyped. I've been experimenting with it. Couldn't get it out quite in time for launch, but very soon. Yeah, the fonts are not within we are not super happy with the fonts. And yes, all the code I've been teasing recently, all the crazy stuff I've been talking about with local first and everything else, that's all been here. Folders will definitely be a thing, kind of like projects. It's not GPT-3. It's DeepSeek v3 and 4.0 Mini primarily. And it's 4.0 Mini custom hosted on Azure, and it goes about 3 times faster than OpenAI's hosted version. It's pretty stupid fast. It's dumb. It will absolutely be multi-model in the future. I have a lot of fun things planned. Because when you ask a model what it is, it's never right. Yeah, if you ask it, it will almost always be wrong. If you ask DeepSeek what model it is, it says ChatGPT-4. So I didn't post a link on Twitter. Thank you. I forgot. That's a good point. Because if I did it in the main post, then it would have bombed the post, but I scheduled it. Wait, I am live on X. What do you mean? You got to go live on X simultaneously. I am. Come on. Useless. Hilarious. Where's the pin button? Out now. I'll change it to manually unpin there. DeepSeek is one of the options because it's really fast, really cheap, and open source. In the future, it will be self-hosted. So, like, if it's open source, I'm not going to be as biased about where it came from. We thank all the subs I missed while we're doing that. We got Thor Jr. 5 here. Thank you so much for the support. Catlow Main, 5 months in. And Far Zenith hitting that 1 year mark on the launch day. Palace with the 6 months of Tier 1, 2. Cyan Flare. Thank you all for the support. The stack. The stack. The DeepSeek web app being so bad was one of the key inspirations for us building this. Funny enough, the first commit was 5 days ago. This has been a grind. Contributions for UI? DM me, Hujiro. I'm definitely down to chat. Padding below the prompt input. I like the... So do you mean like so it's not like going into the bottom the way it is? Because that's the thing we stole from Claude that we kind of liked. I want to see how traffic is right now. I'm so curious. Jesus Christ, I was at 80 visitors before I went live. It has started. 3,000 messages sent. Keep an eye on Azure if you can, Mark. I don't have access still. I kind of use the AI SDK. We'll go through all the tech in a sec. Still loading for me. If it's not loading for you, I definitely want to get more info. But if it's a pro plan, basically it is unlocked. We need to do a better like pricing page. Didn't get time to do that. But if you're hitting don't subscribe till you hit the limits. I'll just say that for now. If you're using it right now, do not sub for the paid tier until you hit the message limit. And when you do, sub, and you won't hit the limits anymore. There will not be an API. Azure is the right place to host it. Google is the right way to sign in. Other auth options might happen in the future, but yeah, none of the tech is what you would expect from me. We're going to film the actual video about this now. Let's do it. I'm going to make a clean instance quick. txdb.delete and application local store onboarded fresh. Cool. All ready to go. Anyways, yeah, I'd link in YouTube chat. I should do that. Can you pin messages in YouTube chat? You can. Cool. So we built a new app. So I built a new app, and yes, it's AI, but wait, don't go yet. Hear me out. This one's different. Not in the sense that I'm trying to do something massively... Retake. I just dropped a new app that I'm really proud of. Yes, it's an AI app, but hear me out. The AI is not what makes this interesting at all. We just launched T3 Chat, and it is the fastest AI chat app you've ever used, if not the fastest app you've ever used. Like, you can take my word for it, or I'll just ask my chat. Hey, people who have used it, how fast is it? Mid. There we go. Fast, very fast. It's so snappy. It's pretty fast considering it's just Mark typing back to us. Yeah. There's a lot of reasons why it's so fast. There's a lot of things that I'm really proud of. Normally, this is where you would get your sponsor spot, but we're not doing one today because I'm here to show what I built. And before we go any further, it is free to use. The pro tier is $8 a month. It's just for higher message limits right now, so don't pay for it until you hit those. In the future, we're going to add a whole lot more fun, awesome features for that paid tier. But for now, try out the free tier, see how you feel. And please try it. I think you'll be surprised when you see just how fast it is. Like I'm going to tell it, generate a solution to Advent of Code 2021, day, I don't know, let's pick a number, 8 in Rust and TypeScript. Don't want anyone feeling left out, you know? And this is real time. This isn't edited to be faster. This is just how fast it goes. And while it streams in, you can hop to different threads and it all works. And it's all local first. So I could turn off my Wi-Fi and still be able to navigate, do things. And as soon as I finish working on search, even search across your message history. I'm really, really proud of what we made here. The data architecture and the application architecture is unlike anything I've built. It's almost funny that we named it T3 Chat because this is the furthest from the T3 stack I have ventured in a while. Laravel's been really helpful. No, I'm joking. Laravel's great, but it has nothing to do with what I built here. Local first apps are their own crazy thing to build. And I still can't believe we pulled this off in 5 days, especially considering the number of different things I had to invent to make it happen. I've been sharing some hints at this let me go here. I've been sharing some snippets of the crazy things we're doing in this project for a bit now. I'm going to share my personal favorite, which is my static app shell. This is a route that resolves my app because I, as much as I love Next.js, knew that it was not going to help me with the entirely client-side everything that I wanted to do. I didn't want to rely on the server at all, other than when you're receiving a streamed message from an LLM. So as long as you're not getting a response, you don't need to be online at all and you're not connecting to our servers. The front-end app is a React router app. I've basically brute forced Next.js into letting me build a mini remix React router app in it. There are still some routes that are built in more traditional ways with Next, that things like our terms of service privacy policy and the auth flow. That's all using standard Next.js server component stuff. But the core app is app router, but the core app is React router because I wanted something entirely client-side. And the whole app doesn't even render when you do the server pass. You'll see here, I import this with SSR false because I want the whole thing to be on client. I don't want to wait on the server ever. as cursed as this is, and I'm not going to pretend it's not, I got the blessing from Vercel, at least a couple people there who thought that this was surprisingly cool. And I know they're working on making things better for those of us who want to do SPAs and really client-heavy apps in Next. But for now, I DIY'd it. I'm really happy. And if you're curious how this works, if you're curious how this works, I have my rewrite here in my Next config that redirects all paths that aren't resolved some other way over to the static app shell, and now everything is that static page. That's far from the only thing we did to make this good, though. I have been deep in this wonderful, weird, obscure, forgotten library named Dexy. Dexy is a minimal wrapper on top of IndexedDB, which is a browser standard for storing a ton of data inside of your browser itself. The actual API for IndexedDB is garbage. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. It's really bad. So we needed this to be the layer on top in order to actually be able to use it. They have their own Dexy Cloud sync layer product thing that I started looking into, but I wanted something different. So I ended up building my own. We have our own sync layer. It's a bit complex, and if I go into the details now, by the time the video is out, I might have already changed them, so I'm not going to. But know that we are hacking the hell out of Dexy in order to make this sync layer experience work well. I'm also doing some really cool things where I'm also doing some cool stuff where I combine local storage, data fetching, and caching so that everything's as responsive as possible. Like your auth state is currently stored locally, not as the only source of truth, but as a backup. So you don't have to wait for the server to tell you what things are. There are no loading states. There are just stale states. So if you were to subscribe, but you had this open in another tab, it would just say free, even though it should be pro. And then when you do something else, it'll upgrade itself to pro. There are so many of these things I did throughout the app, from on-click triggering, or from on-mouse down being the way you navigate with my custom link component, to prefetching everything that could ever happen, to abusing the React compiler and memoization. I got some help from Aiden, I actually got some help from Aiden, the person who made MillionLint and MillionJS, the god of React performance, who's been doing all the crazy demos of React Scan and showing how slow these React sites are. He collabed with us a bit to make sure we could get the rendering as fast as possible. Yeah, it shows. I have been using this since we had an early prototype 4 days ago as my only chat app, and I couldn't be happier with my experience using it. And that's why we built it. When you go to something like Claude, for example, if I go in here and I click this embedding markdown content in Next, wonder why I was looking that up, you get a loading spinner. Go to something else, loading spinner. It's super slow to navigate when you send a message. If I say, tell me something cool about Rust, still waiting. Now we're starting to get it. It's a fundamental difference in experience between what we built with T3 Chat and what I've experienced in every other one of these apps. As someone who uses them a lot, it's been a really nice change. I know some of y'all are disappointed. This is Theo going down the AI pipe. We didn't do anything interesting with the AI here. What's interesting is the experience we built around it. I'm trying to take my expertise in building really good, really performant applications in a local first way for the web and apply it to make other apps that deserve this type of treatment feel better. Chat is saying that this is pure UX. Absolutely. The goal here is to make the user experience as good as possible. Not because those 5 seconds matter a whole lot, but because the actual experience matters a lot. You should feel good when you're going around these apps, navigating and doing things. It's been a great experience for me, and I hope it is for you guys as well. And if it's not, let me know. We want to fix it. We have a ton of awesome features. We have a ton of awesome features planned that I'm really excited about. The one I'm personally most hyped for is the dedicated desktop app. I'm tired of having my AI chats be a random tab in Arc, the same way I'm tired of having my dev mode be a random tab in Arc. I want the things I use the most to all have their own space here. So we'll absolutely have a T3 Chat app with a lot of cool new things like hotkeys and other behaviors in the near future. Obviously, we want to have file uploads, something like projects with context. Local first search, I'm really hyped about too. One of the ones I haven't seen anyone else do, branching chat. Why? I want to be able to take from here up and make a new chat for that. So many things there. But the goal initially was to make something that feels as good as apps that I already love to use, things like Superhuman and Linear, that are local first apps that feel great when you're spending a ton of time inside of them. This tech isn't worth it most of the time. Building this way isn't great when you have an app that's really heavy on server-side work. But when you have an app like this, where I just want to navigate, click around, and do things, I don't need the server very often. I found that building this way is really, really awesome. That's all I have. Go flame me for being an AI bro now, but at least give the app a shot if you can. I'm really proud of what we built, and I'm curious what y'all think about it. Until next time, peace, nerds. Kill. Stack, please. I just described the stack. I do have a sync for this. So if the browser clears the data, it comes back. It might not come back as aggressively as it should, but it does. The tokens per second, it's around 200 right now. I'm playing with other things to get as high as 3,000, but I'm not as happy with the output quality. I found that the model and the tuning we have here is the fastest I can get without feeling bad about the quality. DeepSeek was really solid here, but the speed has gone down a ton over the last 5 to 6 days. This made me really unhappy. We will absolutely have, it won't be incognito mode for the whole app, but it'll be when you open a new chat, you can tag it as temporary or incognito and it won't be persisted. Absolutely have that planned. The logs are, I built this in 5 days, okay? I was up until 5 a.m. debugging things last night. I left some logs in. They're not a big deal. There is no data that the logs have that I don't want you to have access to. Speed of response, super impressive. We'll absolutely have changing models in the near future. This will probably not be open source, no. No, nitpick away, Hujiro. DM me on Discord, and I'll make a group chat with Mark. I really want a raycast extension. Shouldn't be too hard. I have to add like a route for it first, but absolutely planned. You broke it? Oh boy. Fuzzy finding, I very much want to. Mobile plan or mobile app? Probably, not sure when yet. Yes, the sync will work if you clear the storage. It won't work well right now. You have to send them. When does the sync occur? Sync occurs on sign-in right now. I'm going to trigger it to occur more often, and I'm going to have a thing that checks if the history we have stored is more recent than the history on your machine. Not there yet. All the pieces are, but I haven't actually built the flow for it just yet. Multi-user chat. Not for a bit. This is entirely like local first on your machine, which would make it really hard to share in that way. My plan for shared chats is more of an export feature where you've had a chat and then you export it for others to have access to. Yeah, the people keep asking about the hosting. The hosting is all through, like Vercel is the main backend platform for it. We're using a custom auth layer on Cloudflare right now for that side, for the auth referral layer. I have tried moving more and more over to Cloudflare. I probably will in the future, but the reason that like I picked Next in this hacky stack instead of doing a traditional Vite SPA plus like Hano backend on Cloudflare is that we could move significantly faster this way. I did check out Batteroth. It's heavy for what we want to do and isn't as built for the local everything model that I was trying to build. I was looking for solutions that didn't do much. And the one that we ended up going with there was OpenAuth. Actually, more for T3 chat tech. I had more I wanted to talk about in the tech, so I'm going to do that now. The question I've been getting the most is, one of the questions I've been getting the most is, how are we actually streaming the chat down? We are using the AI SDK. The stream text and create data stream response functions are just too good to not take advantage of. But it is of note that I am only using them on the client. But it is worth noting that I'm only using them on the server. I have been relatively unhappy with the experience using the AI SDK on client. It's cool for quick demos. It is not cool for the stuff that I've been trying to do here. So I've had to build a pretty custom model on how we handle this. And that model is all, again, my custom DEXI layer. Here you can see when the new message comes in, we create it. We get all the messages for the thread so we can send those up as context for the actual model to process. We create the assistant message, which is where it's going to be streamed to with the waiting status. Then we do the call fetching to the API to actually start streaming the message in. We send them our message history, and then it responds with a stream that we have to read and parse chunk by chunk with this giant pile of parsing written by me and Cursor hand in hand. It has a lot of really cool stuff. Like I can grab thread metadata as a chunk on the stream and then use that to update the title while other things are happening, which is awesome. But the part here that matters is the line start 0. This is the actual message streaming in. The way that we update the UI isn't by calling some React state thing. It isn't doing anything on the client, or it isn't doing anything in React really at all. I'm doing it through the DXDB layer directly. So I update the message with the new text content. And that's all I have to do. Really. It's awesome because I have an observable layer. It's kind of like solid.js style signals where the update here triggers any component that is relying on this data in its render path. It means there are footguns. It's easy to select data places you don't mean to and then trigger aggressive re-renders. I did have a thing originally where when a message was incoming still, I used to have a thing on the thread icons on the left where if a message was coming in, it would indicate it there. But doing that resulted in the entire status bar updating way too often due to the messages being updated as the stream came in. Working on other ways to do that shouldn't be too bad in the future, but for now, haven't got that quite where I want it yet. But you need to know these things when you're building this way. The result, though, is our actual logic for our code is hilariously simple. If we look at something like the chat itself, there's a ton of stuff for the scroll, but that's most of the difficulty. The actual content here, if I go to like the chat input, scroll where I actually get the text, it'll be in here. Is it? Oh, chat input. Oops. We want message list. There we go. Cool. If we look at the actual message list here, we have messages, use live query, which is a fork of the React package that is provided by DEXI, where I return the thread messages if thread ID exists, or I return empty array otherwise. And now whenever any message in this thread is updated, this component re-renders, which would be bad if it was re-rendering every single component along the way. But a combination of the React compiler and this chaotic memoization layer that I built alongside Aiden, it makes it go really, really fast. The slowest part by far isn't something I can do much about. It's the React syntax highlighter, which is using Prism. Prism's a phenomenal library if you do it in one shot for the syntax highlighting for code. But when you're doing it over and over again on the fly, it's not quite as good. It's still really powerful, and I can't imagine moving off it because all the other alternatives don't do what I need on the client. But it is where most of the CPU utilization is coming from. And if I was to just comment out Prism and just render it as markup, the site would be even faster, but it's fast enough already. It is what it is. Any other questions or things worth going into? I had no idea what IndexedDB was existed before you tried to use it, and why is it so fast? So this is part of our startup, ping.gg, which is a Y Combinator-based startup. So technically, this is already raised money, and it's a YC thing. It's part of why we can do it, because I have a lot of credits on our Azure account, which make this viable. Shiki is phenomenal, but Shiki is very much like pre-planned syntax highlighting. Like, you have to know the context of what's going to be highlighted, as far as I know. I don't think it's great for client side. I could be wrong. If I am, I'm going to explore it after stream. But that was my understanding last time I took a look at Shiki. React Router over TanStack Router, because I had more confidence I could hack React Router into Next.js. And my decision flow for these things was admittedly kind of dumb. I wanted to be able to ship a back end and a front end with all the things I wanted on both, with as little compromise as possible and as little time spent on it as possible. So I used Next because it's slightly easier than a mono repo. Like, that's the main thing Next is providing me, is a build pipeline and a way to host the back end and the front end next to each other. It's been really good for that. I know we need to do math formatting. I have had a lot of people asking about LaTeX. Very much interested. Can I show the syncing part? No. A combination of, I don't want to encourage the patterns I have built here for almost anyone, and it's mine. I'm keeping that for me. And I'm going to redo it again in the next few days anyways. You've managed to think you got unlimited credits by changing local storage, but I promise you haven't. The thing you need to realize about the local layer is that the local layer is a cache. It's a really good cache that lets you do most of the things you do in the app. But if you're doing an action that matters, we are verifying that you actually have the real permission to do it. The sync is just showing it to you in the UI. So yeah, you can go into local storage and mark yourself as a pro user with unlimited remaining messages. But when you send it up to us, we don't get that data. The pro features are right now unlimited use. It's not unlimited. I think I have like 500 messages every 7 days. And if you actually go over that, email us. I want to chat. And like, if there's a power user that actually hits the limit I set on pro, I was going to add UI for it after stream. Like, literally just a prompt. It's like, hey, we noticed you're using an insane amount. We want to unlock your account further, but could you hit us up? Because we want to talk to power users. So that's coming. So if you actually manage to hit the pay tier limits, congrats, we should chat. Theo is power user can confirm. Damn right, Toasted. Good to see you, man. Ping is absolutely a bit of an octopus. The mental model we have at Ping is we solve the problems we have and discover new problems through it. Like, we started with ping.gg, which was a better streaming app. Or we started with ping.gg, which was a better collaboration app for content creators. So if I wanted to bring a guest onto my stream, Ping made it way easier to just hop in a call, copy paste you into my OBS, and get going. Genuinely love what we built with Ping. But through it, I invented and found a lot of things. We created the T3 stack originally for Ping, obviously learned a ton from that, but found a lot of holes in the market. One of the ones that frustrated us the most was file uploading and file management. The other one that frustrated us the most was webhooks, which is why we built a webhook thing, which has pretty much entirely been forgotten by the community. I'm sorry, y'all, but this wasn't popular enough for us to keep investing in it. It's fully open source now, so if you do want to do other things to it, feel free. The repo's here. Webhook thing, it was clear after launching, was not a thing enough people wanted. But as soon as I started talking about doing a better S3, everyone was hitting me up. An upload thing ended up being our first of the new things to blow up. What I love about the way we build at Ping is we have this like TikTok back and forth relationship where we build a more creator or consumer product that we actually want. Through that, we discover pain points in the developer ecosystem. We go back and try and solve those. And then in my attempts to demo the things we've built, I go the other way sometimes. Like PickThing was half a demo of tech that I had already built, half a way to dog food other tech, and half a thing I actually needed for doing all my thumbnails and work for my content stuff. And now this app is blowing up. I've been amazed how people are using PickThing and loving it and recommending it. I get tagged almost every day with someone recommending PickThing. But that's how we build, is this back and forth. And the reason that we now have T3 chat is because I was using these LLMs and these chat apps more and more and just kept getting frustrated about the UI and navigation experience. It was always slow. They had weird bugs. They would change the UI in ways that pissed me off. Like Claude just did this new thing where it edits the code instead of giving you new code when you send a follow-up message. And it sounds like a great idea, but I hate it. It is so much worse and jankier. We want something that will never feel jank. Oh, Shiki on client's pretty simple. Noted. But do you have to bundle the languages all? I'll give it a shot post-stream for sure. Bookmarked. You know what? I'll put this on my linear. Explore Shiki for highlighting. Priority, high, copy, paste. But we want to support every language, Mark. Yeah. Yeah, you can send, I think it's 20 or 30 messages without being logged in. If I check, I can even show you guys the limiter because I don't really care. It's not the right one. Let me, I think I put it in backend. I have to re-architect where I have things. It's funny, I'm almost intentionally leaving the backend a little bit messy because I'm planning on handing it, I'm going to give the repo to a couple other creators. So I want them to roast it because I think it'll be really good content. Okay, cool. Back in DB rate limit. Here we are. Cool. So I have a sliding 7-day window for 30 messages on the free tier. It's rate limited by your IP address. So switching accounts isn't going to save you there. The pro tier, 500 messages over that 7-day sliding window. So yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to decide how I want to handle the code blocks in the messages you send still. We'll have search, yes. We'll have new models coming soon. How to put it? We want to add support for most of the models. It's relatively easy. I already have half of them working. Just a matter of exposing them in the UI and making sure we don't kill ourselves cost-wise. But absolutely planned. I personally, like Claude, is consistently my favorite model. I've been really impressed with DeepSeek, but Claude is still my favorite model overall. We'll be exposing all of this in the near future. This is the base tech demo / app with the goal of it being as quality of an experience as possible in terms of the actual UX. All of these other things that you expect from other AI apps are absolutely coming, and I encourage you to be annoying on Twitter in my tweets about T3 chat in the replies so I can use that as a signal on what to prioritize. It's funny, I asked you about the thing naming when I didn't use it here. Good stuff. I'm pumped we have this out now. This has been a grind. Yep. Do we send that down as an event right now? Okay. So the people who are seeing like an infinite load right now, Mark just looked into it. The reason is you did something that the model didn't like, and I don't have the proper indication coming back to the client saying, hey, you did something you shouldn't have. Fast follow. Thoughtful threads, can you stop sending your messages 6 times? Oh, you're asking why not clerk? Clerk is very much expecting you to use it everywhere, I think is the best way to put it, where like you're expected to use the Clerk, or you're expected to use Clerk in the middleware, so every single server call is hit with it. You're expected to use Clerk in like your sign in, sign up flows. You're expected to use Clerk on the client using Clerk's components. And you're expected to be hitting Clerk's servers effectively all of the time. Gamer Girl, refresh and it should be good. It might be out of date caching. Yeah, refresh should do it. If not, tell us. We'll figure that one out for sure. This is the problem with everything being local cached, is that there are no loading states. We're working on this for about 5 days now. Refresh did not do it. Okay, send a message if you could. Yeah, I will say not using Clerk was hellish. I'd say like a third of the time I spent, at least a third of the time I spent was on like auth stuff, because it was not easy. If you have me on Discord, DM me on Discord. If not, at me on Twitter. I'll figure it out post stream. So sorry about that. Yeah, also R marked on Twitch. If you're having issues with, or is it R marked your Twitter or Twitch? What? Oh, MurphMF, sorry. Yeah. You can at Mark on here with Whispers. If you paid and are having issues, Mark will help or at least log so I can fix. Yeah, I need to do something to get around the VPNs. Haven't went too hard on that yet. And yes, I'm doing on press. I have a custom link component. Way to out yourself as not a sub, man. Your IP address is being shared by others by the sounds of it, Alexander, or it's changing a whole bunch. It's all based on your IP right now. It would be very hard for me to break down what each of those days was. That could be its own video, actually. You know what? Fuck it. That might be fun. Yeah, Vercel headers. Hey, I wanted to check plausible again. How many messages are we yet sent? So all the analytics are anonymous, by the way. Almost at 10K messages sent. Jesus Christ. That's so cool. Yeah. Where should we put a product feedback channel? Yeah, in my server, not the ping server? Yeah. Do you have the admin perms to do it, or should I? Cool, on it. Cool. We now have a T3 chat channel. Oh, do I need to modify the permissions? Nope. Save. Cool. Okay. One last thing, because I almost forgot. We now have a T3 chat channel in my Discord. If you want to give feedback about how things are working for you, issues you have, and we'll do our best to monitor this and keep track of everything we can. Yeah, too many DOM nodes working. Funny enough, we have a virtualization PR, but it's only for the left, like nav, not for the core message content. I didn't want to break Command F is the problem. We're thinking about all that. But if you have problems, come here. Somebody's probably already had the problem, and if not, we should know about it so we can fix things. Yeah, we need error handling. If you have issues with payment, any of that, Come here. Yeah. We want to be really receptive to the community and the people using this. I have the features I want to prioritize, but I will immediately delay any of them if y'all have things you need more. We really want to be as community driven as possible with this project. I want to have the best AI chat app ever. And that's not just going to be building the exact thing I want. That's going to come from every one of you guys using it, telling us what works, telling us what doesn't, continuing to build and iterate on top of it. Right now, the advantage is speed and user experience. In the future, as we add more features, the benefit will be those features too. The desktop app is going to be a big part of that. I'm really excited for that. You paid again and it worked. Okay, make sure we refund your other sub. I have no idea why that would have happened. We will going to look into that for sure. We just finished payments last night. That's going to be Electron, of course. My defense of Electron video coming very, very soon. What? Why did this person just get timed out? Aiden, if you're still here, can you turn off the thing where Fossabot bans people for banned words in my Twitch chat? You can leave it on YouTube chat, but on Twitch chat, I don't want people timed out when we approve things. Electron is so over. Okay. Marker Electron video extra. Marker Electron video extra. Okay, so the video you're watching right now about Electron is one I recorded a little bit ago. Sorry to spoil it. I record my videos live and they come out when they're ready. We have a lot of them. The reason that you're seeing a clip from an entirely different day right now is because one of my favorite performance-focused JS devs here, Canada Honk, just said, Electron is so overhated. And I want to emphasize something important here. Every single performance-focused JavaScript dev that actually knows what they're talking about believes that Electron is getting more hate than it deserves. It absolutely does. And Canada is an absolute legend. They're the creator of Test262 FYI, which is the go-to test runner to figure out what features are and aren't supported by every different JavaScript engine, including their own engine, Porphyr, which is an ahead-of-time JS compiler. There are a few people more qualified to say that Electron gets more hate than it deserves than they are. Huge shout-out, as always, to Canada Honk, one of my favorite people in the community. Thank you for stopping by. Also, I was going to ask, but I forgot. Are you cool with me including that in my Electron hate video? I am 1,000% okay with it. I don't want to be in it from you. But if you're cool with it, I like the additional sources. I already have like 7 in it, but awesome. Thank you. Appreciate you as always. We should catch up soon, by the way. I feel like we haven't chatted in a minute. Yeah, I will gladly show what you're working on any opportunity I get. It might not be a thing that comes up in my content a lot, but I promise you, whenever I'm at like a tech event or just at a meetup or whatever, Porphyr comes up at least once every time. It's such a cool project. Oh, that's annoying. That's all just default Next.js stuff. I'll fight that later. All of them are about Electron Alternative, lol. Is Aiden here to fix that? If not, I'll have to go deal with that in a bit. Good work, TickBase. I'm not trying to hide the system prompt. I might have even revealed it earlier. It's not something I'm trying, like I'm not hiding anything from you guys with that. I'm not trying to obfuscate the models we're using and all that. It's all bog standard shit. Good work though. Right now it will not do that, Doug. We will have something for that in the future. It's a very early, that works, thank you, Gabriel. In the near future, we will absolutely have better rate limits on IP and whatnot, but I just didn't want us to go broke with the launch. So, yeah. Okay, so what are all these being deleted for then? I'm gonna unmodding Fossabot for now. Axios. At least we can approve them now and it's fine. Unable to send. Interesting. It might just be that it's getting insane traffic. Let me test one more. Can you do it in Erlang? No, working for me. Okay. I'm sure we're hitting 1 billion edge cases. I'll do my best to prioritize them all post-stream. I was hoping to film more videos today, but I think I just need to film this one last one about T3 chat and then go offline and manage the chaos of launch. We have nothing like Sentry. We have nothing analytics-wise except literally just anonymous analytics through Plausible. I don't even know how many people have signed in. I don't have a way of checking. I only have the number of messages sent and the number of unique users going to the site. Like, this is everything I have. Yeah, messages sent and unique visitors. That's it. I'll probably add post hog at some point, yeah. Haven't had a chance to yet. To keep it lightweight and because I want to be really intentional with user data. Yeah, if LLM vendors improve their existing chats, my product is dead. Actually, marker one last extra for T3 chat vid. I have too many of these. I'm so sorry. I might have to edit it myself, but yeah. One more quick thing. Got a great question from YouTube chat for once. What if... God, I hate YouTube chat so fucking much. So fucking much. Anyways. Got a really good question from YouTube chat I wanted to talk about quick. What if LLM vendors just improve their existing chats? Is my entire product just dead? Yes. Most of the products I build are built in a way where if the competition was to wake up and do things right, the product would be dead. If Zoom was to realize that streaming's a thing and make it easier to include a Zoom person inside of OBS, ping dies immediately. Hell, Twitch tried to do this with the Twitch guest star product and failed. The reality is that if the companies were capable of doing these things, they probably would have already done them. And as much as I like to think my push building better things will get them to, it usually gets them to try, and it's very rare that they succeed. I've watched many products try to copy what we did with ping, upload thing, webhook thing, marker thing, pick thing, and I'm expecting people to try and copy with T3 chat as well. That would be great. Straight up, if somebody makes a better chat with more features that is just as good an experience as what we have here, I'll probably subscribe and use it. I didn't build this because I want to be the only person with a chat app everyone uses. I built it because I wanted a better chat app. And if people like it a lot, awesome. I'm super hyped. And if they don't, or something else better comes out, still awesome. I spent 5 days on this so far. I'm really proud of what we built. And if the result is someone else making something better, that's good too. But I think the ChatGPT team's a little too busy rewriting their next app in Remix to catch up to the crazy stuff that we're doing over here. Of course, Buck. It was a great question. Thank you, Canada. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, we'll figure this out soon, I promise. It's more I wrote my own remix than I wrote my app in Remix. This it will not do by default right now. You'd have to sign out and back in to trigger it. What you can do, and it sucks, I'm not going to say you should have to do this, but right now, I actually exposed the whole DB layer as a window object so you can call things. It was super helpful for debugging, but that's not what it matters for here. If you call dxdb.importdb from server, that will sync it. So run that and you should be good. Sorry you have to do that. It'll be automatic in the future with a much better flow, but hopefully that'll work. And if that doesn't work, tell me now. And if you can, hit us up in Discord too, so I can let you know when it's working and have you test it. More resources doesn't mean more shipping, almost ever. Right now, we're just limited to chat. We don't even have object or like file uploads yet. Coming eventually. Why no Axios? Yeah. It's just annoying if people ask about it. This is because you're trying to jailbreak. When you try to jailbreak, it just silently fails. We need to have actual error states coming soon. If you could share more details in Discord about how it was slow, Moji, please do. It's not like Next's cache. Do you mean like the sync engine? Yeah, I wouldn't say like... Most of what I built here is much more minimal and much less like what other products do. Like, very little of Next has helped us here other than server actions. This is the most of used server actions. It's actually been goated for this. I'm going to do a video at the Framework laptop. I filmed a lot about it. I stopped using it relatively quickly, so I'd feel bad. I still have it. I felt too bad to return it, so I didn't. But I don't love it. Better fetch. Interesting. So these types of tools are actually really cool when you're doing traditional fetch stuff. Most of what I've been doing is server actions. There's only one like traditional fetch call in the whole app right now. That doesn't surprise me. It's hilarious. There were too many little things about Linux that made it hard for me, specifically as a creator. Like if I was just doing code all day, like I could have built what we built here on my Framework laptop running Ubuntu totally fine. But when I wanted to plug in and share it, getting the right resolution to output through my HDMI out was really hard. And I couldn't do it over my Thunderbolt out because the model I happened to get happened to not have that like Thunderbolt port. I should have went Intel, not AMD, my mistake. Lots of these little things just added up. There's another question I had here that I wanted to answer. Why don't you say like 0? Believe me, we tried. That'll happen all. You know what? I think it might be time to do the how we built this, like the overtime video. Launch day. Damn right, Kevin. Go give it a shot. Yeah, I need to try that too. 2 or 3 people sent me fully functioning push solutions for what I tweeted about a while back. I'm really excited to try those. Benchmarks are time from clicking a thread to it opening, ability to have things streaming to one message while I'm in a different thread, and being able to navigate between them while offline. Those are the key distinctions. And Next's routing in general will fight you every step along the fucking way. It's more than kind of broken. It's so broken, I give you a warning when you open on mobile. If I... T3.chat. Why did that open twice? You get this. We haven't polished the mobile experience yet. Use with caution on top because we know how broken mobile is. I was gonna lock you out entirely, but last minute did that. Yes, I'm on YouTube. T3.gg. What I missed from you, Void? Yeah, better safe than sorry. We really wanted to get the memoization right for a couple things. I could probably remove that use callback and be fine, but didn't want to take the risk. This fast as fuck, boy. Damn right, Kevin. Happy you're enjoying it. That's actually a really cool thing. I'm going to keep this saved for later. Oh, it's pretty as fuck, too. Who made this? Is that you? And it's open source. Okay, yeah. You have my attention. I'll be trying that after stream. Maybe not today, but soon. This one was cheap. It was only like $300. I was surprised. It wasn't like a resale or anything. Just no one bought it because it was a premium domain. The thing that ICANN does now where the premium, like premier domains that are either short or dictionary words cost $100 to $400 instead of just costing $20 has killed like the whole like domain squatting thing with all the new TLDs. What is this? I recognize this. Oh, ecosystem performance. Yeah. Good efforts. Holocoder, I'm using that message. Marker T3 too fast. I'm sorry, I just had to grab this one message quick. This is so fast that the first time I clicked on new chat, I thought it was bugged. I didn't realize the page was already loaded. Too used to ChatGPT that takes a minute, I guess. Yeah. I want to collect all of these messages that are describing how fast things are because I can do it all I want, but nobody will believe it if it's just me. I want everyone else's word on it. Oh, Aiden, you're here. Faucetbot was just going haywire and banning people constantly, so I had to unmod it. We can chat more about it later, but yeah. Faucetbot's been super aggressive on Twitch chat. Duck AI is really fast. I only discovered this yesterday and started playing with it. It is really fast. We are slightly faster, but it's nice to know that that exists because I'm a DuckDuckGo guy. When I do a test search, like my default search engine is DuckDuckGo. Yeah. If I could, Aiden, I would love to turn off the auto bans from banned words. What I found was happening is that AutoMod would flag something as inappropriate. We would click accept because we thought it was fine, and then Faucetbot would ban them anyways. But I do want Faucetbot's auto banning on YouTube chat. Really happy to hear resize. Thank you. Yeah, that was my experience trying to use it when I did earlier for Duck. So slowly your laptop actually caught on fire and burned down your house. I could see the markup rendering for the like code blocks causing your laptop to light on fire, but the rest, no. We have to do more for the chat input autofocus. I have a couple things I have to do. Oh no, no, Tori has been blocked forever. We unblocked it because Tori's been a blocked word for 2 years now. But every once in a while, somebody would say something okay with Tori, so I would allow it. But then when I would allow the people who said the okay things, Faucetbot would ban them immediately. So we removed it as a banned word on Twitch, but that didn't remove it on Fauca. Why is Tori blocked? Because 99% of the time somebody is bringing it up, they're doing it in a way that brings no value and pisses me off. And it's better for me to be less pissed when I film, just generally speaking. The problem, there's so many misconceptions around Electron that if you're bringing up Tori because Electron bad and slow, I can't fix that in your head. And all the conversation will do is piss me off and probably piss you off too. It's better to just not have it. Tori is a phenomenal UI layer for Rust apps. If you're building a Rust app and you want a UI for it, Tori makes it really easy to do that. If you're looking to make a faster Electron app, get less bad at Electron. We're not skipping jumps here. This is more, I don't let anything block. I went out of my way to move any potential block out of the way of kicking off the stream and getting it to you fast. I'm also using OpenAI's API layer is garbage and super slow. So we're using Azure because they're the only place you can actually hit OpenAI models. So we're using Azure as our hosting layer for the actual LLM and like inference, which is much lower latency. I think it's actually slightly higher latency for time to first token, but the actual throughput is significantly higher. Most of the videos you've seen about Tori had people end up using Electron anyways. Yep. Scroll bar between shots from one shot affecting another shot. That's a good catch. Thank you, Aiden. Coming, yes. We'll have a way to stop soon. Repo is very private, not open source. If OpenAI wants to copy all the cool things we did here, they're either going to have to figure it out themselves or pay me. The reason this isn't open source is I don't want these giant AI corporations to get all the hard work we did for free. This is part of the plan, Kevin. Actually, if you're interested, I don't know if it's the right fit for your content, but I am picking a handful of creators to give access to the code base to roast the shit out of it because I think it would make for fun content. So if you're interested in that, I'm more than happy to give it to you. I would be down, Aiden. You can chat after stream. There's so little machine learning code here. I don't know if he'll get anything out of it. Yeah, I have found that the quality of the average reply on Blue Sky actually feels quite a bit worse than on Twitter. I'm not saying that Twitter doesn't have horrible fucking people. I'd say there's more horrible people on Twitter than Blue Sky, but the average person on Blue Sky is more annoying. Don't be sorry, Arthur. This is really helpful. Primogen has not seen this yet. Bruh, AI uses a lot of water. Oh, God, yeah. I do not plan on becoming a cursor competitor. I think it is time. Oh, the auth was a nightmare. I don't copy what we did for that. Honestly, just use Clerk. I'm an investor in a lot of things that I compete with, to be fair. Really happy to hear Holocoder. Annoy us on Discord if you have any problems at all. We're going to be working our asses off to make it even better. Prompt templates, absolutely. Also, like context that can be grabbed and shared. Yeah, I'm an investor in Pear. I think they got way more shit than they deserve. Like overall, I think Pear is actually like Pear has all the right pieces to do something awesome. The reason they got so much shit, in my opinion, is a combination of it's not just Nang left. Yeah, it's Pan and Nang. There's a third guy that had to leave, but Pan and Nang are still there, right? Wait, no, sorry. It was another company that had a third co-founder. I think they're fine. But did Pan leave? It's possible that he did. What's his handle? Huh? Huh. Let me check some things. According to this, Pan's still there. Anyways. Oh, the announcement was on Discord. When did that happen? As an investor, that would have been a good thing to know, but it is what it is. I'll make a note to check in that later. We're going to have some crazy hotkeys in the future, I promise. Prism versus Prisma. That's great. I've called it Prisma a few times accidentally. We'll absolutely check that. It cannot do that. Do kind of some of it, like I feel like I have a lot of content like this. I have like my current stack video that's been delayed forever that'll come out eventually that shows a lot of that. Some of the videos I did recently, like the 2 I recorded on Wednesday, I think will be really good for this, especially like the back end coming to web dev. There are some videos I think will be really helpful there, more so than just going through my code bases. We'll absolutely have search. I found the ChatGPT app when I tried it last to be kind of buggy and have a lot of weird states, so I uninstalled. Yeah, I use the app to help build the app. I've been using it a ton. They are if you make them. The limits with Pro right now, don't be sorry. They are unlimited. The hard limit right now is 500 messages in 7 days. And if you hit it, I plan to have or give you a heads up and give you an email address to context. I want to talk. If you actually manage to hit the Pro limit, we should chat. Interesting. Not too surprising, but good to know. Thank you, Dom. Interesting. I will check this out too. Good to know about all these other things that I haven't played with at all. I want to do the, like, how we built this, like the order of events thing. That's because you're on the same IP address. I've been considering making a better pocket for so long. You have no idea. Okay, I want to first like get through the like 5 days. Let me just do these in order. Okay, so we got day 1. Time in V0 and AI SDK. Ooh, should I take the time to try and like restore the different states that it was in? Kind of like that idea. Commit history. My world's dumbest sync branch. God, this was quite a project. Does it say timestamps on these? GitHub. You won't give me a timestamp on the commits? 51 a.m. Okay, we're still in the like same first day stuff there then. It's 18 p.m. That would have been after I went to bed. Just trying to find when it would have been when I went to bed this first day. 6:02 p.m. Those are all after. That would have been before Mark started. I remember that much at least. Hillary May did this before going to bed. Okay. Maybe I didn't. Where is... I hate GitHub sometimes. Okay, so it's between these two. Having relative on... How can I do that? Oh, there's an error. Someone's having an issue with checkout. Can you share in Discord? We'll get that fixed ASAP. How is it? Gen 6, 1:22 a.m. I just kept going that night. Jesus Christ. The fighting with the service worker. That I need to detail. Fight with service worker. Okay, Cauliflower with toasts is at least new enough. I hate there's no way on GitHub for me to just like find when I stop before like 9 a.m. because I was coding till 9 the first day, if I recall. Yeah, still 3:43. So I think it might be mobile gets a send button because I was remember doing that before going to bed because I was upset people weren't able to use it on their phones. Yep. Okay, that's the final commit for the first day. Okay, that's going to be wrong. 2:48 a.m. That means these won't be there. That's 2:48 on the 7th. Oh, that's the 8th. Okay, so I have to find the 7th. So where did the 7th end? Oh, fuck, I closed my... I guess I can keep it closed. I have the other thing for it now. This is so annoying and tedious. Is there really no way I can just like spit out the exact times here? Can I just take it? Why did I not do this fucking earlier? Okay. And then day 2 was off. Actually, maybe I was wrong about day one. Okay, this was day one. It all fucking works. Service work was a different data. That's what I thought. And here. Drop that. Sorry, the idea of the video, like my devlog was too good, and now I have to do a lot of annoying reverse engineering for this. There's 1, 5. Which ends for me here. I already put that one there. Okay, and 1, 7's final early commit was merging my auth. I'm gonna list what I actually did on these days now. UI overhaul, brought in Mark, my CTO, made him explore 0 a lot. Built my own local or index DB layer. Fight auto scroll. Okay, day 3. Move off next, then back to it. Fully functioning auth. Today is the 10th, right? Let me pull out my calendar and just like mentally map this out. Okay, yeah. So up to the 6th would have been Monday. So you guys just sitting watching me think all of this through. Distracted by malware bytes, false positive on UTFS. Went to Vercel office to complain about the AISDK. Snagged some domains. Still called Better Chatbot at the time. What else did I do here? I'm really thankful. I take notes every day of what I did in that day, and these are very, very helpful. I did not have fully functioning auth at that point. That was the next day. Day 417. Functioning auth. I'll figure out all the other things in a sec. Try to get our startup credits from OpenAI and Anthropic. Day 4. That was auth day. What else did I do? That's the one that ends in DE. So it's like 15 to 16. Okay. This is 16 to 17. Which was that one, which is EFCA. Cool. So next we have me coding till 6 a.m. again. Good old UG commit. Somebody was saying my commits weren't that bad before. Now, hopefully, you're changing your mind. This was the day I moved off Next and back to it, if I recall. Okay. Tons of polish and bug fixes. Finally started using linear LOL. Cool. And then 1.8, which ends on 1.9 at 4 a.m. Why the fuck is that doing that? 8. Paste that. Okay, what am I missing here? That was 8, and then... Oh yeah, that was the end-to-end sync day. Sync layer was also the day that I... Yeah. Tried and failed to set up Jazz. Rolled my own sync layer instead. I think that was my stream day as well, yeah. Stream day, so less code. That makes sense. Day 6. And it's also experimenting with other models here. Okay, I think I have the order of events all here now. Let's do it. Yeah, okay. It's 6 days because this one started at like midnight. And I also lost a day because of stream. Cool. This was a disgusting amount of coding every day, probably like 8 to 10 hours. And yes, I'm blaming you guys for me losing a day, 100%. Cool. I have everything I need. Let's do it. How I built T3 chat in 5 days. Huh. In case you haven't seen yet, I just put out a new app called T3 Chat, and I'm really proud of it. It's the fastest AI chat app I've ever used, and as far as I know, currently exists. If you don't believe me, go try it, watch my other videos about it. It flies. I've been getting a lot of questions about how I built it, how it's so fast, and most importantly, how the hell did I do this in 5 days? These are all great questions, and not all of these questions have great answers, but I want to do my best to try and clue you guys in on what it took to build something like this as quickly as Mark and I were capable of. It's going to be, think of this more like a devlog type video in retrospect, where I'm going to go through each day what I did and how the process led to building an app that we're actually proud of and we're able to hit a crazy deadline on. I think, before we can do that, we need to hear a quick word from today's sponsor. Cool. Let's get in. I have to change a couple things quick locally. Wait, no. That should all be fine, actually. XY, exit. Cool. So to start, we probably shouldn't be here. We should be where I was, which was the deepseek.com chat. If you're not familiar, DeepSeek was a new model that came out somewhat recently that is really fast and really cheap without really compromising on... Editor, cut straight from the ad to here. Before we can get into how I made T3 Chat, we should probably start with where I did, Before we can get into T3 Chat, we should start with where I started, which was DeepSeek. DeepSeek had just put out a new open source model called DeepSeek v3, and I was blown away with what you could do with it. It was really fast, really cheap, and comparable quality to what you'd expect from something like Claude. I played with it, was really impressed, but the chat app was awful. It was so annoying to navigate. My experience using it was garbage, but I wanted to really take advantage of this model. And I'd also been thinking a lot about it for a while because I've been frustrated with ChatGPT and Claude's web applications for as long as I've been using them. And over the last 6 or so months, I've been using them more, and I've been getting more and more frustrated. So I wanted to play with this model and have a better UI to play with it in. So I went and tried a couple of the open source starter kits for doing an AI chat and quickly realized they were all garbage. No offense to people who made them. It's really hard to do these things, and you built everything correctly with the technical assumptions that have existed in the creation of most of these tools. But I want to do something fundamentally different. I've been dodging local first for a while because for most of what we build, it doesn't make sense. An app like Upload Thing gets nothing out of being local first. An app like a Chat AI app actually benefits a lot from it, so it's disappointing not seeing anyone take advantage of it. So I decided to start scaffolding. I started with V0, and I bet we can even find the point that V0 got me to. Yeah. As you can see, it's pretty far from where we ended up. We have redone all of this since. But it gave us a rough starting point using the Vercel AI SDK. I went over all my limits on V0. Had something that was a UI that kind of worked. And I was able to get that running in Next on my machine, got all the parts plugged in together, and had it streaming. I immediately had some things I wanted that Next wasn't going to help much with, though. Specifically, I wanted whole navigation to be on client. And I ended up spending most of the day... As such, I ended up spending most of the day on the routing layer. And you'll see something interesting here. This is the only page in the app day one, because I moved all of the routing out of Next over to React Router with a catch-all route that would handle all the different URLs you went to, because I didn't want the server to be involved in navigation as you moved around the app. This, combined with my sync layer that I built entirely through React Context, worked. It meant you lost everything as soon as you refreshed, and my attempts to build this backend sync in a KV were not going great. But it kind of worked with a rough sync layer, and all the pieces were coming together. Navigating it felt good. But it was far from where we wanted it to be. I can probably run it locally. Oh, is the sync layer going to fail? The sync engine's going to fail. Let me... Oh, I can fix it quick. How do I want to fix this? Give me one sec. Sorry, I'm creating a new Redis instance. Not what I wanted. Grab this. Give me one sec, y'all. Sorry for the delays. Not used anymore. And that is in backend. Okay. I fixed it. So the thing I was missing, I didn't have a Redis instance up for the sync engine. We now do. I go to /chat. We get launch chat, which creates a new chat with an ID. And I can say solve advent of code 2022 day 2 in TypeScript. And it took a second because I didn't have all my optimizations. And I was so unsure because I'm so used to being fast that I just assumed it was broken, but it worked. It doesn't have auto scroll because I was fighting scroll constantly throughout, but I at least had a decent UI. I had hacked in syntax highlighting in a way that was okay. But I had something here that worked. The sync engine was not one of the parts that worked, but at least I had all of this. And I was proud with where we were at. And I had also wasted a ton of time on random explorations. I tried multiple different ways of storing the data. I have a Neon instance here that I had a schema for. I ended up going with a KV through Upstash, Redis. That worked fine. To use SuperJSON or something. I've been using a lot of SuperJSON for this project. But yeah, it kind of worked. It proved that this could happen, but it was nowhere near where it needed to be. But it was also 5 a.m, so I went to bed. But first, I made a quick update. I think I have it in here. Do I have my README? Yeah, I wrote the things that I needed to do and then passed out. The next day, I hit the ground running and grinded. Let me grab here. By day 2, things were going much better. I had figured out that we were far enough along that Mark probably could come in and help. So I onboarded him, showed him where we were at, what needed to be done, and we got moving. Is this not where I added Dexy? I thought I had a different time I added Dexy in my notes. Oh no, I guess I did it here. Cool. Update my notes to make my life easier. Cool. Retake then. After waking up the next day, I felt like I was far along enough to bring my CTO, Mark, in. I always feel bad bringing him in on these projects when they're so early, but I knew I couldn't be doing this one alone and I would need a lot of help, so I caved and brought him in. Did my best to notate all the things that needed to be done. I was also battling my hot water and spent most of the day with plumbers, funny enough. But we made a ton of progress. What do I have listed here? First and foremost, we overhauled the UI. We now had tabs that you could go between, as well as a chat box that wasn't anywhere near as cringe. Still had bugs, and I was still insistent on command enter, which was wrong. Enter is how you should submit. We made a lot of progress here, though. Parts were starting to come together. I had thrown away all of the sync because that context I was using before was garbage. And at this point, I had started moving over to Dexy, which is funny enough, like an ancient library. If you don't believe me, just look at their website. You can tell this is from the 2010s. It's awesome they have support for all these new cool things, and the team works really hard and builds great stuff. But this library started in like 2011, and it has Internet Explorer 10 support. This is not a project that I've seen anyone talk about, and I understand it's kind of old, but I don't care. It was awesome. It made so many things that I was struggling with way, way easier, and I had a lot of fun with it. So we started architecting things with projects, threads, messages, building a database layer where we could store all of this locally in IndexedDB on your machine. If you're not familiar with IndexedDB, it's a browser standard for storing a shitload of data in the browser. Pretty cool. Chaos, but pretty cool. Ended up with a couple functions here for creating new messages and threads. And then the code for the actual chat used the default hook they provided. Use live query, which would sync by getting updates through signals whenever Dexy had something occur. This was good enough to quickly get a UI where you would send a message and see the stream come through. But there was a lot of chaos when new messages came in and the relationship between a new message and the actual UI you were seeing. So I ended up moving off of the API, and I was also, retake on this. This method of getting messages in was really nice, especially after the hell I had dealt with trying to do all of this with the Vercel AI SDK. I don't want to shit on them too hard because the SDK is great, and the backend side is still what we're using for our streaming in from the LLMs. But the client side was very limited. It worked great for a quick demo, but as soon as I wanted things like local sync or IDs, which, oh God, I was so frustrated with the message types and the way IDs worked in here. We'll have a whole tangent about that in a bit, don't worry. But I ended up spending a lot of time hacking the data layer here and dealing with weird client behaviors, trying to get the state to behave, and I couldn't get it to behave. So I caved and moved everything on client over to the Dexy layer I was increasingly invested in, which meant that I could just hit a live query, which would update when the message updated, and just stream the message straight to my local DB. Worked great. It meant a lot of things re-rendered when they shouldn't, even with React Compiler. But overall, it worked pretty well. We were a lot happier overall. We had submit, decent UX and flows here. We had gotten some actual tail end being written to make things kind of pretty. And I had at a point where I was happy enough to show it to people and get some feedback. And also worth noting, this is the point at which I stopped using Claude and ChatGPT to ask questions throughout dev, and I was just using T3 Chat for all of my dev work. We also picked the name T3 Chat that night because, was it that night? I don't think it was. I'm getting my order of events a little wrong here, I think. Is this the one I'm on, right? Am I on the wrong commit? No on the right commit. Okay. No idea what happened there. Yeah. And if you look at the commit logs here, it was at 5 a.m. where I decided T3 chat was the name and put it in the corner. The reason I picked the name is I snagged the domain. So I used it here and I was really happy with it. But the T3 chat name was day 2, as well as all this overhauling. Now it's time for day 3. First thing I have to do is install shit. Cool. This is day 3. It might not look very different because it shouldn't. We didn't change much in terms of the UI on day 3. And also, day 3 was the day that I was... was day 3 stream day? No, it wasn't. Cool. And here we are in day 3. You might notice things don't look that different, and there's good reasons for it. I spent the first half of this day at Vercel's office detailing my frustrations with the SDK. They were very happy to take me in, thankfully, and wrote down, I think they wrote 6 pages of notes and are making meaningful changes to the AI SDK as a result. Fine and dandy, awesome. By the time this video comes out, chances are building something like this will be much easier because of the changes Vercel is making, but I had to do it all myself. So I spent most of the day gutting the remaining pieces of the AI SDK floating around and moving everything over to my Dexy layer. Sadly, when I got home and opened my laptop to get back to work, I got a notification from an upload thing user that Malwarebytes was blocking their customers from accessing files on their service they had just released. And if you've kept up, if you follow me on Twitter, you probably already saw this. It went pretty viral for me. And also been dealing with things like this. My video about itch.io and pirate softwares, complaints about that, touch on a lot of this. But since Upload Thing allows any developer to let their users upload files, we will inherently end up with people uploading malicious things. It's going to happen. Despite the fact that we've been aggressive at removing those files and banning the users who do it, a couple companies in the threat security space and antivirus space would block our domains weeks after the files had been deleted because they weren't robust enough to check and they never bothered to notify us. So I had to spend a lot of time fighting Malwarebytes in their stupid goddamn forum because it's the only place to report false positives. After fighting this for a while, we ended up getting it done. Spent a decent bit of time on tech figuring out how we can prevent it in the future. We have some cool subdomain stuff coming up later, but I ended up spending probably like 4 to 5 hours dealing with all of the stuff around this, sadly, which meant I didn't get to spend as much time coding as I would have liked. That said, I was able to finish the Dexy layer for the most part, not the sync part, just the local part, as well as get some startup credits from Anthropic. OpenAI still hasn't gotten back to me. Yeah, it is what it is. Anything else this day? Oh, off. Wait, was that this day? Okay, yeah, that was this day. There was one other thing I forgot, and I probably shouldn't have. Oh, actually, we had a homepage now, too. Did not fit well on the screen. We ended up fixing that literally an hour or two ago. But I did finally get off, kind of. It's probably going to break really bad now because of how much we've changed the auth layer since, and I wasn't running it here the way I am there. But we had a mostly working auth layer with cookies and local store. I spent a lot of time thinking about auth for this app because I wanted everything local. I didn't want you to have to hit a server and get a thumbs up from me every time you did something. And as much as I love Clerk, it very much leans you in that direction of doing everything through middleware on your next app. And I did not want to fight anything that would come from there. So instead, I picked a worse battle, which was rolling my own auth. And it made me miss Clerk so much. I genuinely wish I had spent the time to try and figure out how to make Clerk work here. I know they've been a sponsor for a while, but they've been a sponsor for a while for a reason. I like the company and I like the product. And I lost so much of this day and the next day to auth that you can see how bad this looks. So between my time at the Vercel office, my time with Malwarebytes, and my time fighting the AI companies, and my time trying to get auth set up, the only actual UI we got done was the delete message button. Yeah, not great. So I was excited for the next day. The problem being, the next day was stream day. And stream day, if you guys know, if you've been around for long enough, stream days are long. So stream days, I tend to not get to code a whole lot during. And at the end of stream day, I actually had to go to the Vercel office again to hang out and do a little meetup. Actually, the day before, there was one other thing I forgot about. So back to day 3 for a sec. I also went to the, back to day 3 for a sec because I almost forgot. I also spent a decent bit of time hanging out with the Laravel team at the Excel office, which was very fun. Got to hang out with them a bunch, give them feedback on cloud early, hung out with Josh. He filmed the clip here. Great time. More lost time, though. So sadly, nowhere near as much code as I would have liked on day 3. Day 4, stream day, finished up auth. Also had to go to the Vercel office for the meetup that I had agreed to go to there, and I had some friends I hadn't seen in a while. So I was at the Vercel office 2 days, which is funny. I'm almost never there. Just worked out that way. And I had also spent a bunch of time this day moving off of Next, changing my mind and moving back. So yeah, I have a prototype version of all of this working with Vite and React plus Hano on Cloudflare. And all the hacks I had to do to make the streaming work on Cloudflare were enough for me to say, fuck it, and go back to Next for now. In the future, we'll move this to doing it the right way, but not yet. So day 4 was mostly polishing auth, streaming, and also setting up linear so we could actually track our issues. Oh, I think I also turned on React Compiler that day if I hadn't earlier. Yeah, pretty much no change in the UI. Everything still behaves basically exactly how it did. Just auth was the big thing. I bet if I go to /auth, it'll work now. Yeah, it does. Cool. Google Auth. Look at that. All through OpenAuth. OpenAuth is a really good library that is not easy to set up. Day 5. And I know you're probably seeing this day 6 there. He's like, wait, 5 days. Can we honestly say that these 2 days were both full days, considering how much of my time I lost to entirely unrelated things? Yeah. Also, day 1 started at like midnight. So I'm pretty sure it's 5 days in terms of the dates of the month overall. But like, yeah, be flexible with the 5 days. It was closer to 5.5. Day 5, I spent a lot more time on that sync layer because I had the local DB working great with Dexy, but I had not cracked the cloud side. I'd tried a few things, wasn't happy, and decided to go back to exploring other options. I had also, on stream, said I was going to talk about local first and didn't get to it because I had to end stream early to go to the other Vercel event. But I had a lot of DMs from people I trusted talking about local first stuff. Because as much as I don't think local first is something we should all be reaching for everything, there's a lot of developers I really respect and look up to that care a lot about it and had a lot of things they wanted me to consider and look into. We'd already explored Zero. Funny enough, I forgot to mention this earlier. I had Mark exploring Zero for most of day 2. And we concluded that as cool as it is, it's not quite ready. If you're not familiar, Zero is by the people who made Replicache. It's a way to set up a Postgres layer with a cache, like JavaScript server. Actually, I think it might be in Go, but there's a server between your database and the client. I know, boring, typical. But you define all of the behavior for the app in the API as a TypeScript file that now is a WebSocket connection between that cache and your client. So everything is done on the client and then synced up to the server rather than the other way. Really cool pattern, really crazy potential overall. It was just a combination of hard to set up, not super flexible, bad source of truthing where you had to write the same code in like 5 places and hope it all came together properly, and mandatory downtime when you upgraded. All of these things were enough that I was unsure, and I had also gotten so deep into the Dexy layer that I wanted to lean in further. So we ended up doing a Dexy sync layer on day 5 that I built myself, but not after trying Jazz tools. Jazz seems super cool. I spent a bunch of time talking with the team. We tried really hard to get things set up, but there were a couple like fundamental design decisions that ran very against the way I was trying to build. The way I would shorten my issues were that it's very focused on collaboration and collaborative values, as well as every user being fully authenticated before anything happens. There was also a general assumption that like, let me find, I have the PR open still where we tried moving it over. Yeah. I have the PR where I tried moving over to Jazz here. You have to wrap everything with a provider as you would expect. But if the provider doesn't have a signed in user, it will not render its children. So doing this actually broke the app entirely. I couldn't get it to render, and it was really unclear why. Turns out you have to be auth before the Jazz provider will even return the children. Yeah, it is what it is. Got it kind of working, but every time I thought things were working, 5 new ones would break. A lot of it is like I hadn't wrapped my mind. Some of it's that I just hadn't wrapped my head around the data model, but a lot of it's that the data model was fucking weird. Like, where's me? Everything has to be structured through a me object. Where are the definitions? Did it just collapse the file or something? Cool, here's the schema. So here's the schema I tried making with Jazz. The schema had a weird hierarchy. You have to globally register your account in their Jazz React package in order to have the types work at all. Then you define account. Account is a class that extends their account. This is my app account. They recommend you don't assign values directly in it, but you need to be able to access them from it. So instead you assign it a root value, which you type out. So I made it my app root. So my app root is a child of my app account. And these are properties on classes. And if you know me and my functional programming brain, you know how much I was starting to get angry from this. I then had to make a thread list, which is a extension of co-list of co-ref of thread. And I have my thread, which has a title, last message at, and threads, which is a co-ref of a message list. A message list is a co-list of a co-ref of a message, which is this. What this all means is I can't select messages by a thread ID. I have to do everything through me. So if I want to make a list, or if I want to render from a list, I have to go to me.root.thread.select with the right ID and then get those messages and render them. And I did not want this type of hierarchy in my app. It made the whole model way more confusing. And the point where I had jokingly said to the team when I was working on it, create message. I had create message open in here somewhere. Okay. I can't find the specific code I was annoying about. I think I deleted it, but I have my create message function here. This function takes the thread ID and the message the user wants to send, and it does all of the things. It creates their message in the right thread. It gets all the messages from the thread. It creates a correct version of those messages, just tidied up to send to the server to start streaming the new message from the AI. And we start streaming it in. I had joked with them, very much joking. If I have to pass me to create message, I said at the time jokingly, like very much a joke, thinking there was no way in the world this was true. Haha, if I have to pass the me object to create message, my head's going to fucking explode. To which they replied, about that. To their credit, they were hyped about how many issues I ran into. They were super responsive and are taking the opportunity to fundamentally rethink the loading and data patterns around Jazz. If I was to move to a sync solution, Jazz is very high up in my list of things I would consider. But what my realization has been throughout this, it's actually a confirmation of a theory I had in the past, which is the The needs of different local first apps vary so much that if you are trying to build a generic solution for all the local first apps, you're not building something anyone actually can use or want. So these attempts to build generic solutions all kind of sucked for me. And I could not find one of these that was even close to what we were trying to do. So I gave up, finally, after spending probably 3 to 4 hours back and forth on Jazz, and rolled my own instead. Ended up going way better than I expected, considering how much time I'd lost to everything else going on. And I also spent some time experimenting with other models. This is when I started playing with ChatGPT, playing with Claude a bit more too. And the reason for that's actually kind of silly. I started paying more attention to the different performance characteristics of a handful of models. And this site, by the way, super killer. This is artificialanalysis.ai. They every day benchmark every model to get you performance information. So if we throw like 4.0, latest 4.0 mini, got the latest Claude in here. I love the site scroll breaks when you do that. Claude latest and DeepSeek v3. This was really useful for me to start getting info. You'll see DeepSeek's quality is absurd, but there's a catch. And the catch wasn't something I felt the first few days. The catch is when I started using it, the output speed was great. 90 tokens per second, which means 90 words effectively coming in every second. And it felt great. As we got closer to launch, the speeds were going down significantly. They'd gotten to almost half of what they were prior, and I was losing confidence quickly. I also noticed that all the alternatives for DeepSeek, because it is an open source model, which was exciting, I was going to throw it on one of the providers and saw all of them were even fucking slower. So I started obsessing over the performance of the model. Probably a little too much. Spent a lot of time testing all the different models. After playing a bit and screwing with ChatGPT and GPT-4o, I ended up getting it set up on Anthropic. I ended up getting 4.0 mini set up on Azure in a way that was really, really fast. And that's what we're using right now. We're going to introduce the ability for you to select different models in the near future. But for now, the goal was fast without killing our bank accounts. And I'm happy with where we landed there. DeepSeek's still hilariously cheap. So if you're looking for the cheapest that is high quality, check them out. But 4.0 mini is also really cheap and really fast. So there's a lot of good options nowadays, which is really cool to see. I should actually... I already have it. Cool. Was the app any different this day, though? Oh, finally we had a real homepage, by the way. For a long time, everything was on /chat, which meant if you just went to the site, you got a blank page. This fixed it. Yeah. Ended up not changing much UI-wise. Oh, I think I added the collapse for the sidebar, which was cool, but was not the focus. The next day was grind day. This was yesterday, the day before launch. And Mark and I just spent the entire day from when I woke up to when I went to bed, hacking, overhauling the UI, making a ton of other changes, most of which, to be fair, Mark was making, but we hadn't merged just yet. We changed the input box to look more like Claude's. We changed the sidebar to have a better new chat not it being there. Reserve that area for your auth information. And most importantly, Stripe and payments. I still hate setting up Stripe. There are 100 ways to do it and none of them feel right. We have a solution I'm okay with, but we also had a couple reports of people paying and not having it correctly flag their account as paid, which makes me want to go mad. So we'll be spending a lot of time tonight making sure it is as stable as possible. So by the time you see this video, checking out is fine. But chat's already saying it. Stripe is hell. I'm afraid of Stripe. That's whatever. I have checked out Grok. I had a tab open for it earlier. The speed you can get things out of that is nuts. But yeah, the Loyola is trying it and seeing how fast it is. It's really nuts. But yeah, we spent a lot of time on Stripe. I also did an onboarding flow that I was really proud of, where when you first open the app, it would create 3 messages that describe what it is and what it does. I did that instead of a traditional homepage, and I think it's really, really cool. I also spent a bunch of time with Aiden, you know, the million.dev guy who made React Scan. React Scan's a library that lets you see when things re-render. I have a video all about it and React render patterns coming out soon. It might be out before this. Hard to know. My schedule's chaotic. But he is an expert, like industry-leading expert in all things React performance. He's also the CEO of Million, which is originally he's also the CEO of Million, which was originally an alternative React runtime that would make your React apps way faster. Now it's also more focused on the linting side, where they will catch performance regressions in your app. He is so locked in on performance, it's nuts. And we ended up making a bunch of really cool changes, including front-end chat. This is before then. I'm just going to go to main now. Cool. The biggest one was the markdown chunking. We would start to identify chunks. I think there's a regex in here, it's the marked lexer, which will split the chunks of markdown by the block that each of them are in, so that we can memoize the blocks. So when we get new text, we don't have to re-render the entire message. We only render the block that the new text is going to. And this was a huge win, in particular for messages that have multiple code blocks in them. This made the performance go from shit to pretty good. Still not where I want it to be. I'm going to spend a lot of time fighting Prism or moving to something else for the syntax highlighting. But we got it running way, way better. Very happy with the result. I also added some fun functions to make it easier to test in dev with a lot of threads to get this all working well. And I was really happy with the result. I still actually have, let me safely open up my environment variables here. I added a React Scan environment variable locally so that I can just go to the site and now have React Scan running on it. And you can see when I make a new message here, solve advent of code day 8, 2021 in vanilla JS. Oh, that's really funny. I'm going to just comment out the rate limit for now. The other thing I can do. Wrong route. This is even easier. Cool. Okay, second attempt. And you can see the block you're in re-renders, but none of the rest of the UI does anymore. And the result is you can hit a locked 60 FPS even with decent CPU slowdown. It can do 120 FPS, which is what my MacBook usually runs at when I'm not streaming, but it can dip down to the hundreds sometimes, which is why I want to go further. I'm happy overall, though. It's way better. You might have seen the chat itself was re-rendering, but those are memoized re-renders, so they're not actually recalculating. It's just checking and giving the thumbs up like, hey, this is okay. We don't have to do it. If you look closely, I'll see if I can do another. Now do it in Rust. If you look closely, you'll see there's a little star on these. The star means it's memoized, so it's not actually re-rendering. It's just being checked a whole bunch. And yes, the things in this given message are being checked a lot, but they are being opted out of really early. So it's not a big deal for performance. And if you check the performance tab, which I actually spend a good bit of time in, especially throughout this project. There we are, cool. Here it is with the performance monitor on. Now do Erlang. The error is just a React Scan thing. Don't worry about it. But you'll see during the code block, CPU utilization spikes a bunch. But as soon as you're out of the code block and doing other things after, it drops to nothing. It's only the code blocks that have this level of CPU utilization. And now that I have the dev tools open and the CPU slowdown on, and I'm streaming at a really fast speed with React Scan in React Dev mode, it's not going as fast as I would. See how immediately faster it goes and how quickly that drops, though? It's just the code blocks. So now you see why I want to optimize it further. But we've been to hell and back to make this as fast as possible, both by doing everything we possibly can locally on the machine, avoiding re-renders to the best of our ability, streaming things through a data layer that actually makes sense, and building a routing paradigm that is a combination of the things that work well in Next and the things that I actually like about React Router. The result is, as far as I know, the fastest AI chat app that's ever been built. There are a couple other cool things I did. I'm not super proud of the state they are in, but they are getting to a state that I'm really excited about. Like, I have this use query with local cache function. This should be named use action query with local cache because I pass it a server action. The server action does something like get the user's subscription status, but I also store whatever the result is in local storage. So instead of showing a loading state, I can show a default state, and then from that point forward, show whatever the server returned previously. Theoretically, what this will enable is if you are on the free tier and you go to paid tier and you go back to the home page, it'll show free for just a millisecond before it pulls in the updated value. So I never have to deal with loading states ever. I never have to have animations anywhere. I had a couple like the things I want in the README, like my strong stances, avoid animations as much as possible, and indicate changes as aggressively early as possible. Things like on mouse down, stuff like that. And the result is an app that, with a lot of work and thought into every layer, every render, every piece of data touching everywhere, it's something that flies. And I'm really proud of it. React itself is not slow. React is a great library for building things. Hopefully, at the very least, this can help you guys understand that React isn't slow. It's just easy to use it in a slow way. Admittedly, we had a couple times where one small sync resulted in things re-rendering in ways that caused performance issues, but for the most part, it was just fine. And I'm genuinely really happy with the results. What about you? Did you learn anything here? God. Have you had a chance to try T3 Chat yet, though? I'm curious if you feel the wins that we put the time into here. Do you actually feel the difference between Claude and T3 Chat? I can't imagine you wouldn't, but if you somehow don't, please come tell us. Hit up the feedback channel for T3 Chat in my Discord if you have any issues at all, especially performance-related ones, because we take them all very seriously. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown of how I built this. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown of how we managed to build the app in 5 days. 5 asterisks, but you get the point. The goal here was to build something that felt better than every other chat app, and I'm proud to say Mark and I somehow managed to do it. Let me know what you think, and until next time, keep chatting. Kill. I went with React because the performance would not have been better with anything else. I'm not doing crazy visualizations. There is no way in which another framework would have meaningfully helped here. And giving up all of the tooling that you get by going with React is just not worth it. They should not slow down, Parker, or Parkod. Yeah. This is the open auth I'm using, yes. Cool. So the plumber just got here. We've been going for a bit. I'm happy with everything we've announced here. I do need to film more, but I cannot do it today. We have way too much shit to go do. I'll try to go live tomorrow in order to film all the other things and like give an update on what we've done since. Sucks because we got a lot of people here, and I know that. Got like 550 here. Also, I missed a raid and gifts and so many other things. I'll thank all you guys first, and we're gonna get offline. But God, I missed a ton of you guys. I'm so sorry. We're going to lightning quick speed run all the subs. Then I'm going to get going. Thank you, Valenti, for the Prime. Labradors for the Prime. Chasen for the Prime. Juicy Benjamin for the Prime. Sage for the Prime. Dark Osu for the Prime. Gold the Clasher. Ahmed, Evan, iPaco, 90 Tino, Mike P. Funk, No Good Nick, 29 months. Jesus Christ. Mert here with the tier 1 for 30 months. Jesus Christ. Cyan Flare, 6 months in. Palace, 6 months. Far Zenith Prime for a year now. Thanks for the 1 year. Damn. Do you have any opinions on session stories with JWTs? A lot. Too many to talk about here. Thank you, Kat. Thor here with the 3 months, 18 months, sorry, tier 1. David, 2 months in. Chevy with the Prime. Lucy, thank you so much. Turquoise with the Prime. Gamer Girl, 10 months in. Mitchell, 24 months, 2 years. Jesus Christ. Johnny with the Prime. Dak with the gift. Januland, 21 months. Red Pin, August. Thank you all so much. Jesus Christ, August at 36 months. Holy shit. No, we're not doing this. That makes too many things way harder than they need to be. Yeah, that's all I got. Missed anybody on YouTube? I'm sorry. Thank you all a ton. Also, the raid. Who raided me? I missed it. Okay, raid from... Oh, yeah, the Laravel guys. Fuck yeah. Shout out. Thank you so much. Let's figure out who we're raiding quick. Sorry for the short stream. I'm just way too fucking busy right now. How's YouTube viewership, by the way? Shitload of people. 12,000 people tuned into stream at some point on YouTube. That's insane. Thank you all so much. Okay, who are we raiding? Look at that broken state there. Love that. Love that, Twitch. Oh, Ryan's live. We're raiding Ryan for sure. Have fun with Ryan, an actual performance optimized developer. If you guys like JS performance stuff, he's a good person to hang out with. Thank you guys, as always. Have a ton of fun. I'll see you possibly tomorrow. Worst case, I'll see you Wednesday. Ta-ta. And goodbye to YouTube as well. Thank you all for coming through. Appreciate you guys immensely. What a stream.